This is Janine Gutierrez. I'm WWF-Philippines National Youth Ambassador. And welcome to the Save Our Food, Save Our Planet webinar. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. So I want to talk to you about today's topic. My dogs, what are you doing? So Save Our Food, Save Our Planet is an advocacy campaign which aims to inform people about food loss, food waste, and how the food that we throw away affects our environment. When we think about environmental issues, we usually connect it to pollution and deforestation. However, how we produce, consume, and dispose of our food actually plays a vital role in our planet. Did you guys know that today, September 29, is the first ever International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Food Waste Reduction? I bet you guys did not know that, but that's today, September 29. And with so many of us being stuck at home, food continues to be a great source of joy and comfort, aside from it, of course, being a basic essential. I know that a lot of you probably, like me, have found comfort in ube pandesal, sushi bake, and all the comfort food that we have had around us during this quarantine period. And totoo naman na talagang ang sarap kumain, di ba? Pero dapat conscious tayo na hindi tayo nagsasayang ng pagkain. Katulad ng sinasabi ng mga magulang natin simula ng bata pa lang tayo. So, for today's live webinar with WWF, we will talk about food loss and food waste. What is it? Paano siya nakakaapekto sa ating kalikasan? At paano ba natin siya maiiwasan? So before I introduce our speaker, can we do a quick location check with the audience now? So please comment your location, where you are, how you are, so we can give you a shout out. Let me check. So hello to everyone from QC, Caloocan. We have people joining us from Manila, Davao, hello. From Bataan, Marikina, Parañaque, and Calamba, Laguna. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And without further ado, let's get started. Also, we encourage everyone to stay until the end of the program and to listen intently to our speakers, because we will be giving away prizes to the winners of our game later, and I'm sure that all of you will like these prizes. Okay, I'm pretty sure you're all excited, so let's begin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome WWF-Philippines Sustainable Consumer Specialist for the Sustainable Diner Project, Lorraine Roque.
Hi, Janine. Good afternoon.
Hi, Lorraine. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Mukhang matching tayo.
Oo nga, no? Hindi natin pinag-usapan to, but I love it. Rain, I'm sure our viewers are super excited na to learn. So anytime you're ready, please begin.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Janine. And good afternoon again to everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn how to save our food to help save our planet. So for tonight, we have prepared a 3-course dinner for all of you. O, diba? So we're going to be talking about food all night until 6 p.m. So we will start off with a brief introduction of the project and a background on what food loss and waste is before we move on to our main course, wherein we will give you practical tips on how to reduce food waste and how you can start composting at home. And lastly, syempre, our favorite part of any meal, yung dessert natin, is a quick game where you can win some Grab food vouchers. Ayan, so syempre food-related din yung prize. So I hope that you guys listen and learn something new tonight. So again, to introduce myself, hello everyone. My name is Rain, and I'm the Sustainable Consumer Specialist of the Sustainable Diner Project. So this project, being implemented by WWF-Philippines, aims to connect the effects of our food choices to the environment. So we are working on integrating sustainability principles into food-related national and local policies, food business operations, and even consumer behavior of ordinary consumers or Filipinos. So, you might be thinking, ano ba tong sustainable diner na to? What's it about? So, actually, being a sustainable diner is about embodying 5 principles. So, using local and seasonal produce, conserving energy and water, reducing the use of single-use plastics, eating more plant-based dishes, and of course, today's main topic, which is reducing food waste. So as mentioned earlier by Janine, diba, today is the first ever International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste Reduction as declared by the United Nations in their 2019 General Assembly. So it has already become such a big problem that UN felt the need to have a whole day for it para sa awareness niya. So this year's theme is about stop food loss and waste for the people, for the planet.
I'm curious lang, Rain, na. Kasi actually, guys, tinanong ko na to kay Rain. Kasi ako din, I wasn't really sure what the answer was. So for my refresher and for everyone else, Rain, what is food loss and waste ba? Kasi is there a difference between loss and waste? And how does it affect the environment?
Yes, Janine, actually, you're right. There is a difference. So, yung similarity niya, parehong yung food loss and waste is essentially nasayang siya na pagkain. Pero the difference lies kung saan siya nasayang or saan siya natapon. So, food loss happens in the supply chain. So, that's between the producer, like yung mga farms, and the market, tulad ng mga grocery or palengke. And then, food waste naman is kapag nabili na natin siya sa market. So if we're going to look at the journey of our food, it starts with our farmers and ends in our plates. So food loss happens in the earlier part, from the farmers hanggang sa market, and food waste happens with us once we buy it, prepare it, and when we eat it. So in our country, food waste is a very big problem because in Metro Manila alone, 2,175 tons agad yung tinatapon natin na pagkain. And that's a daily statistic. But more than being a national problem, food waste is actually a global problem. So all over the world, 1/3 of all food produced never reaches our plates. So there's a kind of disconnect between the point na ang daming nagugutom sa mundo versus itong ang daming nasasayang na pagkain. So food waste really is a social issue. So now, how does it connect to the environment? So when we throw our food away, it ends up in landfills. So, 'di ba, mabubulok lang siya, etc. Tapos 'di ba yung bulok na pagkain, mabaho. So actually, yung naamoy mo na mabaho is a type of greenhouse gas which is called methane. So methane is actually a more powerful greenhouse gas compared to carbon dioxide. So if food waste were a country, it would be the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gases after the United States and China. And aside from that, from being a greenhouse gas emitter, we waste a lot of resources kasi when we just throw away our food.
True. And nakakapanghinayang, like you said, na ang daming nagugutom. And
Yes.
we are responsible also for not sharing whatever we have or using it wisely, diba? Pero itong 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gas and we are responsible for it. Sobrang kinilabutan ako doon, Rain. But can you explain? Because we always hear about greenhouse gases and when we think of it, parang siguro yung iba naiisip na it's because of factories or wala naman akong magagawa dyan. But why is too much of greenhouse gases, which also come from food waste, bad for our planet?
So to explain that, actually, yung greenhouse gases and global warming, ang hirap niya minsan i-connect kasi it feels very far away from us, yung issue na yun. So let's do a visual exercise to better explain what greenhouse gases are and how it connects to global warming. So here in this short video, imagine yourself na ikaw yung Earth. So space is very, very cold. So di ba pag malamig, you need a blanket to keep you warm or to keep you at a comfortable temperature. So actually, yung kumot na yan, yung parang yellow na nakabalot dun sa Earth, those are made out of greenhouse gases. So in truth, greenhouse gases are essential to keep you warm. So ayan, 'di ba? Ikaw yung earth, tas nakakumot ka made from greenhouse gases. So ngayon, when there are too much greenhouse gases being emitted, parang yung sinabi ko kanina na methane na nanggagaling sa nabubulok na pagkain, or what you mentioned a while ago, yung mga carbon dioxide coming from emissions ng factories, yung kumot natin, pakapal siya ng pakapal. So, nadadagdagan yung greenhouse gases na yun. So, parang from a very thin, cozy blanket, ngayon, naka-full-on comforter ka na. So, painit na ng painit. And that's what we call global warming.
Grabe. So, it's really important for us to reduce the food that we throw away and the food that goes to waste, diba? So, you've made it clear na talagang we have the power to change this and do something about it. So, Rain, this is the important question. What can we do as normal consumers while we're stuck at home to help this problem?
Ayan. So, today, we're going to give you 10 tips to reduce your food waste at home. So first, we need to focus on tips for prevention. So simulat sa pool pa lang, i-prevent na natin agad na may masayang na pagkain. So for our first tip, tip number 1 is to give ugly produce a chance. So yun pa lang, sa simpleng pagpili pa lang natin ng gulay at prutas na pwedeng bilhin, pwede na tayong makatulong sa pagbawas ng food loss. So when we go to the market, we always see picture-perfect produce. But in reality kasi, just like people, just like us, fruits and vegetables come in different shapes, they come in different sizes, different colors, like these examples. So, we have this apple na very blessed. We have these carrots na parang mukhang tao. We have oranges na mukha ng matandaan, medyo wrinkled na. And we also have bananas na medyo may madaming nunal. So, ganito yung mga tinatawag natin na ugly produce. Pero in truth, ugly produce is just as safe to eat and as nutritious as picture-perfect ones. Because of our obsession kasi with perfection, sobrang daming natatapon na perfectly edible produce. So, what we have to understand is that business decisions are consumer-driven. So, if we don't give ugly produce a chance, tinatapon lang talaga siya ng mga businesses.
So guys, don't judge a gulay by its cover.
Correct. What matters is on yung nasa loob naman, di ba?
Tama.
So for our second tip, we advise you to create a shopping list. So kapag nag-shopping ka, mas organized yung pagbili natin ng groceries, tsaka para hindi sobra-sobra yung bibilhin natin na ingredients. Lalo na yung mga ingredients na madaling mabulok. So our aim should be to buy just enough food na kaya nating ubusin. And that ties in also to our third tip, which is to plan your meals. So it's good to have a weekly plan para alam mo, aling meals ba yung papadeliver ko, alin ba yung ako talaga yung magluluto, ganon. So pag nag-grocery ka, you know just how much to buy. Tapos, during the week, mas mauuna mo yung dishes na may mga madaling mabulok na ingredients.
Oh my gosh. Natuto na rin ako dyan, Rain. Minsan kasi when you're buying food, minsan na off track kapag may nakita kang parang, uy, ito kaya bilhin ko. And then hindi mo naman siya naluluto, hindi mo naman siya nagagamit. So I really like this tip of yours. Thank you.
Yes. Actually, nangyayari din yan sa akin before. So ngayon, when I was living alone, I was making sure na yung sa start ng week, nandun most ng vegetables, like yung mga leafy greens, ganun. Para kasi sa end of the week, lanta na kasi siya eh.
True.
Yeah. So, and then for our fourth tip naman, ito natutunan ko din siya the hard way, is to check the storage. So, before buying more of a product, check mo muna yung pantry mo kasi diba baka meron ka na pala ng ingredient na yun. So, this way, makakatipid ka na, makakaiwas ka pa na mabulukan ka ng pagkain. So, a very good system that you can implement in your food storage is yung FIFO, or first in, first out, or FEFO, first expiry, first out method. So, this is where you arrange the products based on when you bought it or kung kailan yung expiry niya. So, para nasa likod yung mga matagal pa yung mga expiry. And then for our fifth tip, tip number 5 is to know your serving sizes. So try natin isakto yung bibilhin or ipiprepare na food based sa dami ng kinakain mo or ng family mo. So for kids naman, we know that some kids can be picky eaters. It would be good to educate them on the importance of finishing their food or maybe involve them also dun pa lang sa preparation stage. Because this way, they have a deeper appreciation for the efforts that go into preparing the food that they eat. So for the kids naman na medyo mas matanda na, ganon, it would be good to give them the freedom to get their own servings para mas may portion control. So you can also refer to the Department of Science and Technology's Food and Nutrition Research Institute's Pinggang Pinoy. So yan yung naka-illustrate na plate sa bottom part. So this is a visual guide to the recommended portions of each food group in one meal para healthy yung meal natin.
Parang bago na to, Rain, no? Kasi nung bata ako, go, grow, and glow pa yung naririnig ko eh.
Oo, pero ngayon, ginawa na talaga nila ng serving sizes. Pero essentially, it's still the same na go, grow, and glow.
And I think it's important talaga to start off your kids at a young age and lead by
Correct.
example, di ba? Kasi meron akong isang friend na ang galing ng eating habits niya, very mahilig sa veggies, ganyan. So I was asking her na how can she be so disciplined? Yun pala, ever since bata siya, parang sinanay siya to like veggies and like fruits and choose healthier options. So that's how she is now. So parang it's always good to start your kids at a young age.
Yes, that's true. Start them young talaga, especially with those healthy habits. So, ayun. So, di ba yung una nating naging focus is on prevention. So, kunwari, ayan na, di mo talaga ma-prevent. So, nagluluto ka na, tapos sadyang meron talagang natira na pagkain, so hindi siya maiwasan. So, that's okay. We can mitigate this or mababawasan natin ito by being creative. So, tip number 6 is be creative with your next meal. So, explore new recipes to try to make use of extra ingredients or excess food. So, for example, so we can do some food preservation methods. Tulad nitong nasa slide natin, this is kamyas. So, this came from one of our team members. So, ang dami nilang kamyas kasi may puno sila. So, yung ginawa nila, niluto nila sa sugar. So, yung kinalabasan niya, para siyang prunes or raisins na medyo matamis. So, you can also try other preservation methods like pickling, making jams, making candied peels, etc. And then, di ba sa Philippines, sobrang daming banana. As in, all year round, we have bananas talaga. So, we can also make our own banana chips if sobra-sobra yung banana sa bahay. So, ito, mas healthy to kasi you can control the oil, tapos you can also control the sugar that you put in. And then another one, you can maybe use the same ingredient for several dishes. For example, itong spinach, ginamit siya sa ginisang munggo, pwede rin siya sa parang frittata, or pwede rin siya for kids, yung parang cheese ball, tapos lagyan mo ng mga spinach, ganun. Yeah. So another suggestion would be maybe freezing seasonal fruits. Para kahit out of season na siya, you still have some for smoothies. Or maybe also using vegetable peelings. Some people save the vegetable peelings. They put it in the freezer. Tapos kapag nakaipon na sila, they make it into vegetable stock. So sobrang dami talagang pwedeng explore na recipes and what else that we can do. So ang advantage kasi natin right now with having all of these technological advancements is that we have so much knowledge from all over the world at the click or tap of a button. So, ang dami talaga nating pwedeng itry kahit local or international na recipes.
Totoo. And bananas pa lang, di ba? In the past few months, ang daming natutong mag-banana bread, guys.
Totoo. Tapos ang banana kasi madali siyang ma-overripe. Yeah. So, madami usually ang natatapon.
And yung mga natitira, yung naging hack ko din, Rain, actually, is to turn it into smoothies. Kasi di ba you can put veggies then in your shake. So yung veggies, pag di ko naluto, sasama ko na lang sa mango shake or sa banana shake. And then, di siya masasayang.
Magandang tip din yun actually for parents if they want their kids to eat more veggies. Pwede siya itago sa smoothie.
Oo nga, no?
Ayun. So, if wala na talaga tayong choice at wala na tayong magagawa sa food waste kundi itapon siya, then we can do some diversion tactics. Kasi 'di ba kapag nagtapon tayo ng pagkain, usually mapupunta lang yan dun sa landfills. So what we can do is we can divert it from landfills and into something more productive and beneficial. So our tip number 7 is to share your excess food. So especially ngayong panahon na sobrang daming nangangailangan, we should share what we can with others. Pero please make sure that what you share is clean and safe to eat. So right now, we don't really have a formal system yet or an organization for food donation at the household level. But we do have big corporations that donate their excess food or excess stocks from big FMCGs to Rise Against Hunger Philippines. So Rise Against Hunger is an international hunger relief organization and they have a country office here in the Philippines. So someday, hopefully, we can replicate household level na food donation programs na ginagawa na rin sa ibang bansa.
Yeah, guys, let's take this as a challenge na hopefully in the coming year, in the coming months, we can create something more formal like this.
Yes, that's correct. So if anyone out there wants to start their own, maybe an NGO or start their own program that's related to household level food donation, then that's a very big need here in the country. So for our next tip, ito for our plantitos and plantitas out there. Tip number 8 is to start your home garden. Pero you must be thinking, ano ba connect ng food waste sa home garden? So actually, yung iba nating tirang gulay, pwede natin siya itanim. So some kitchen scraps can be used to be the starter for your survival garden. So for example, if you have a romaine lettuce, you can just chop off yung leaves and then the bottom part, pwede mo lang siya lagay sa water, tapos tutubo na yung roots. After a few weeks or maybe a few months, lalabas na rin yung leaves niya. So meron ka ng medyo only or sustainable source of lettuce. And then yung garlic din, sasaksak mo lang yung cloves sa soil, tutubo na rin yan. So it's very easy. And then for this one, we also have, you can do tomatoes. So this one is from one of our office mates in WWF. So yung mga kamatis na pinaglutuan nila, tinanim niya yung ibang seeds. Tapos ngayon, ayan na siya.
My gosh, gagawin ko yan. Bukas na bukas.
Kasi nakaka-relax, diba? When you're taking care of a plant also.
Yeah, tsaka 'di ba ang sarap sabihin na, galing yan sa likod, galing yan sa balcony ko.
Parang it's the fruit of your hard work talaga.
Yeah, and actually parang nagkakaroon din ng sense of community. Especially now we're all stuck at home, di ba? Pero ang daming mga gardening groups where you can get all your tips. Tapos dito actually rin sa condo ko, meron kaming isang neighbor who asked, sinong may gusto? Meron pa akong basil seeds dito. So lahat kami may kanya-kanyang tanim na ngayon. So guys, share your seeds.
Correct. So, ako din actually, yung personal project ko naman, kami ng dad ko, napagtipan namin, itanim yung isang avocado seed namin. So, nung una, nilagay ko lang siya sa water. Tapos ngayon, last week, pinicturean ko siya ulit. Tapos sobrang dami na niyang leaves. So, medyo malaki na siya. Pero ito kasing avocado, if you're planning to plant a tree, it's medyo a long-term commitment kasi it's gonna take a few years before siya mag-bear ng fruit talaga. So, I think for avocado, it's around 5 to 7 years. So, para dun sa mga medyo may fear of commitment, meron tayong examples of crops that we can plant na 30 days pa lang, magkakaroon na ng bunga. So, tulad yan, may kangkong, alugbati, etc., talbos ng kamote. So actually, in our backyard, madami kaming talbos ng kamote. Tapos kapag magluto kami ng sinigang, ganun, yun yung nilalagay namin. So, pumipitas lang talaga kami literal sa likod.
Nakatipid ka pa.
Oh, so 'di ba guys, if you start your home garden with these kitchen scraps, naka-divert ka na ng basura from your landfill, nakatulong ka sa environment, nakatipid ka na, tapos meron ka pang survival garden. So you're more food independent.
True.
So for our next tip, which is also kind of connected to our garden tip, make compost. Tip number 9. So compost is organic matter, tulad ng pagkain, na dinidecompose in a process called composting. So madaming types of composting. May gumagamit ng worms, may gumagamit ng flies, may gumagamit ng Bokashi bran, etc. Tapos yung end result niya is a very nutrient-rich material that looks like soil, but you can actually use it as fertilizer for your plants. So instead of throwing away your food para mabulok lang sa landfills, diba, why not gawin natin siyang compost para sa ating garden? And
Tama.
lastly, to help others reduce their food waste too, you can help by spreading the word. So sharing all these things you've learned today to your friends and family could help them also develop these habits. So sometimes when we do small changes like this to help the environment, iniisip natin na ano ba yan, isang tao lang naman ako, ano bang impact ko sa sobrang laking issue ng climate change. Pero kasi lagi nating isipin na napakalaki ng collective small actions ng bawat tao. So that is through people power. So one of my favorite sayings from the zero waste community is that we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. So yes, guys, you can make a difference talaga.
Yes!
So there you go, 10 easy tips to reduce your food waste at home.
Grabe, thank you, Rain. And ang dami pala talaga nating pwedeng gawin, di ba? Para makabawas sa food waste and this impact on the earth and the planet. And you're right, people power lang to. So just later, pag nag-dinner na kayo, tell your family about what you learned in this talk, share this video, hingi kayo ng tips, and together we can really make a big difference. So thanks, Rain. But actually, one of the things na mention mo is something that I'm really interested in. So, you mentioned something about composting. And I think it's so interesting because it also keeps our soil healthy. Ako bilang isang plantita, na-experience ko na yung mamatayan ng halaman and it sucks, di ba? And you also want to be a responsible home gardener with all your plants, with all your herbs. So, could you tell us more about composting and how this keeps our soil healthy?
Yes, Janine. So sobrang interesting talaga ng composting. So sobrang, in WWF, we really believe in working with the experts. So today, we have brought in Ms. Rina Papio, the Chief Soil Mate of Green Space, to further discuss composting, or more specifically, Bokashi Composting. So we've been working very closely with her, and actually, we have an upcoming project with them wherein we will create a platform for restaurants to connect them to composting services so they can divert their food waste from the landfills. So this project is still in the works, so abangan niyo yan. Pero anyway, without further ado, I'd like to turn you over to Miss Rina now.
Hi, Miss Rina! Nice to see you again! Kamusta po?
Mabuti. And hello then, Rain. Hello to everyone.
Miss Rina, we're so happy to have you because, as Rain said, we're so happy to be always collaborating with the experts. So, Miss Rina, can you please tell us more about Green Space and Bokashi Composting?
Yes, okay, Janine. I'll share with you what we do. So, again, thank you. Ang ganda ng mga shinare na ni Rain earlier. Ano? So, I'll pick up and talk about more about composting. But first, let me introduce Green Space. So, I'm the Chief Soil Mate of Green Space. And basically, it's a food waste composting company. But what I would like you to think of when you hear Green Space, think of it as the new destination for your food waste. It's not anymore the landfill. So you now have a green space where your food waste would go. So where food waste is not trash and where food waste is treated as a valuable resource in building healthy soil. You can also think of green space as your partner in your journey to a regenerative and sustainable lifestyle. We talk about sustainability, diba? There's also this thing about regeneration. And when you do composting, you are going to play a big role in regenerating the planet. As you've heard earlier from Rain, all this food waste ending in the landfill, it causes so much pollution. And that composting is a viable alternative solution. But the question now is, how do we compost? There are different ways to compost, and what matters is that you find what suits you. It may be defined by how much space or how much time you have or yung limitations ng residence mo. Sometimes it's personal preference. Like, you know what? Vermicomposting is actually a great way to compost. Kaya lang, di ba, not everyone is fond of worms. Ikaw ba, Janine? Love mong worms?
Oh my gosh, sorry Miss Rina, I'm not fond of
It's
worms.
okay. Kasi not everyone talaga. Pero di ba, it doesn't mean hindi ka na magko-compost kasi ayaw mo ng worms. You just need to find a way na you'd be comfortable and it would fit your lifestyle. So no matter what it is, just find the one that suits you. Therefore, in Green Space, it is our vision to make composting or have composting become an integral part of every person's daily life. Sabi nga kanina, di ba, you're excited about composting. So what if everyone would think of it in the same manner that you eat, drink, sleep, kailangan natural na food waste, that's composted na. Whenever there's food waste, you have to put that in a bucket. Alam mo yun yung tipong pag may friend ka na nalaman mo, hindi siya nagko-compost, wala siyang compost bucket, and you'd go, what? You don't do composting? Unfollow. Wag naman. Let's love our friends. Pero let's teach them, di ba?
Yes, yes.
Ito na dapat yung normal, yung nagko-compost tayo. Hindi yung hindi natin pinapansin yung food waste natin. Kasi when we compost, we build healthy soil. And think of it as our constant connection to our food waste. Or our food source. So it can happen in your own backyard or in a community garden. Remember, Rain mentioned earlier, no, na 2,175 tons of food waste in Metro Manila alone. Imagine yung ganun kadaming food waste being turned into compost, sent to our farmers who grow our food. So, diba, instead of polluting, we're helping farmers grow food in healthier soil. That will be our role in the story of regeneration.
Miss
Exciting na
Rina,
ba yung compost?
super, super. You make it sound like it's such a valuable resource, and that's something that we didn't know before, di ba? Kasi tayo, di ba, masanay tayo na kapag merong basura, gusto mo agad tinatapon kasi mangangamoy. But then if you can turn it into something that it's like a gift that keeps on giving, then please tell us more about this.
Yes. So, no, we compost. No, what we're thinking now, wag tayo magpadala ng waste sa landfill. But actually, essentially, what we want to happen is to build healthy soil. Yan yung paulit-ulit natin tatandaan na when we start to compost, connected siya na with building healthy soil. Especially with the pandemic, no, na-realize natin how important it is to have a strong immune system. And, you know, Project Grounded, they have a program where they mention that our body, we need more beneficial microbes in our guts. And to have that, it means that we need them more in our food. Therefore, we need more of the beneficial microbes in the soil where we grow our food. So sobrang connected talaga yung health ng soil sa health natin as human beings. You would also see that in films like Kiss the Ground, Need to Grow. There really is no denying that the health of the planet, the health of the soil, and us human beings, it's all connected.
True. And everything is full circle talaga, Miss Rina, no?
Lahat.
Babalik at babalik sa'yo yung nilalabas mo sa mundo.
Ang ganda rin, yes. So how do we make this happen, Janine? Now, yung na-mention mo, no, we have been conveniently putting our food waste in bags. Yun na yung nakasanayan natin, di ba? We have this garbage bags, we put everything there, and we wait for the truck. Kasi yan yung free service provided by our governments eh. Sadly, we're trashing the planet for free. So, sad, but that's what we're doing right now. Kaya we need to challenge this old idea Kaya after today, I wish ikaw, Janine, and all of us watching here na bothered ka na and you feel uneasy every time makikita mo yung food waste, tinatapon lang sa garbage and mix with all the other waste. Hindi na dapat ganon. So why don't we embark into this new way to food waste? Instead of putting them in bags, we now put it in compost buckets and we will use it for our regeneration. So,
Ang ganda ng
alongside,
regeneration, Miss Rina.
yes, yan ang magiging new role natin as citizen of the world. Alongside your zero waste and zero plastic waste lifestyle, kasi di ba yan ang mga pinopromote natin ngayon for sustainability, zero waste lifestyle, zero plastic waste. When you choose to compost at home, it's also your small contribution in healing the planet. And this small act, it leads to a very powerful switch from land fillers, land healers na tayo ngayon. And when we do that collectively, imagine hundreds to even thousands of households, they put their waste in a bucket. That would be tons of waste na hindi na makakarating sa landfill and tons of food waste na magiging compost. So, we would really be helping build healthy soil. And you mentioned plantitos and plantitas, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
I love all the soil you can make from your food waste, and your plants will love all the compost you can give them.
True. And kanina, Miss Rina, di ba, we were talking about how you should share your seeds. Why not share your compost din, di ba? Sa mga
Yes,
kapitbahay.
pwede. With that, we wish for you to simply start and get this going for your household. Kaya we will talk about a simple method called Bokashi Composting. Have you heard of Bokashi Composting, Janine?
Actually, no, Miss Rina, I've only heard it from you. And I'm sure a lot of people like me don't know what Bokashi composting is. So please tell us more about it.
All right. Bokashi, it's actually a Japanese technology, and Bokashi means fermented organic matter. So the key to Bokashi composting is fermentation. We will let our food waste go through fermentation. Kaya hindi lang pala pagkain yung ferment, no? But to look at the general stages of composting, it will be collection, wherein we put all our food waste in a container for fermentation, and then the composting stage, where we will let nature finish off the decomposition. In between those two stages is when the microbes are at work. So yung microbes, yung role nila is to do the anaerobic fermentation without air. We will talk more about that. Pero let's look first at the collection. All of us can collect and let the buckets ferment at home. It's a very simple process. We've been tossing our food waste anyway in garbage bins. Ang ibahin lang natin, instead of mixing it with the other waste, we will put it in a composting bucket with a tight lid or cover and layer it with Bokashi bran. So you can always make your own composting bucket. Ang importante lang naman with the compost bucket is that you make sure it has a tight cover. Dahil we mentioned, the process of fermentation is anaerobic, meaning without air. So we really need a tight cover for our bucket. And then a strainer is necessary so that any excess liquid in our food waste can drain to the bottom of the bucket. And then we can also put a spigot there so you have access to that liquid because it's very, very useful. Although if you can see from the photo, there's a red and blue bucket. It doesn't have a spigot kasi the red bucket, it has, you can put holes in it para that would act as a strainer. And then if you need to access the juice, you just lift the red bucket and then kunin mo na yung juice at the bottom. But on the other hand, if you want something ready to use, we have that naman then in Green Space. You can also get one ready for using from us. So the next, what comes crucial for Bokashi composting is the Bokashi bran. The beneficial microbes in the bran are the ones responsible for the fermentation process. So that bran is made of rice bran, yun yung darak. Normally, yun yung naririnig natin na feeds for sa mga hogs or sa mga baboy. So there's darak, rice bran, carbonized rice hull, and then we ferment it using a microbial inoculant called EM1. So we in Green Space also makes high quality Bokashi bran. So you have your bucket, you have your bran. Now, the art of layering your food waste. What makes Bokashi composting simple is the fact that all food waste can be added. It just means that you don't need to sort through your food waste and there's no need to leave anything behind. You can put everything in your bucket. Again, we say it's simple. Maybe it's not that easy, pero sa simula lang yun. Sanayan lang. Kasi it's only a matter of time you would master the art of layering food waste and bran in your compost bucket. But how can we master that art of layering? By getting into a daily food waste routine. So yan, Jenny, ito na yung aaralin mo on a daily basis na gagawin mo with your food waste.
Yeah, guys, actually, I'm so excited because yesterday I got my compost bin from Green Space. Kaya excited talaga ako kasi this is always something I wanted to learn. Tsaka, Miss Rina, it also makes it a lot simpler na lahat ng food waste pwede mo ilagay, di ba? Kasi hindi ka na mahirapan and ang dami mong magagamit. Kasi di ba, palagi tayo naglalagay ng mga eggshells sa mga halaman natin.
Yes, which pwede naman yon. And then kung kailangan mo din ng, let's say you have a lot and you have a bucket, you can definitely put it in your bucket. So ang kailangan mong gawin first is to have a strainer.
Okay.
Put it on standby in your kitchen, or for those doing it in the office, in their office pantry, best is to put it somewhere by the sink. So bakit may strainer? Kasi we want less liquid going into our composting bucket. Yun lang pala yung hindi natin ilalagay. Any form of liquid. We want less liquid going in. So yung mga sabaw, yung mga sauce ng pagkain natin, and mga excess beverages, hindi na natin isasama sa bucket natin. Or siguro, you can try this one if you have mga ice cream tubs at home. You can prepare a temporary 3-in-1 collection bin. 3-in-1, kasi first, it can act as a strainer. If you can see from the photo, may holes yung bucket sa bottom niya. So that would act as a strainer for your food waste. Ipunin mo muna doon. Second, it's your temporary storage dahil we keep saying kanina na anaerobic yung fermentation. So it would be best na you open your bucket only once a day. Hindi yung pagkain mo ng banana, lakad ka na sa bucket mo, buksan mo siya, tatapon mo. So ipunin mo muna everything in that tub. By the end of the day, toss in your food waste into the bucket. This way, once mo lang siya kailangan buksan every day. Third, it would also serve as your measuring device. So one tub, that's yung 1 liter na ice cream. So every one tub of food waste, lalagyan mo ng 1 handful of your Bokashi bran. Actually, if it's all fruits and vegetables, you just sprinkle it with bran. Pero if there's more meat or high protein stuff that you put inside your bucket, you need more. 2 or 3 handful would be good. So what you really have to do is to make that tub as your guide until masanay ka na dun sa paglalagay mo ng food waste, pag-layer mo ng food waste and ng bran. You just don't want it too thick and ayaw mo naman ng konting-konti lang yung food waste and then binuhos mo na yung bran mo. Sayang din naman yung bran. So just do this every day, practice this every day, you'll get used to it, you'll master it until your bucket is full. On the average, Janine, mga 2 weeks for a household of 4 to fill up 1 bucket. So you can have
rin yun.
2 buckets rotating pag puno na yung isa, keep na for fermentation, and then you're filling up your second bucket. Another 2 weeks would go, na puno na, ready na to empty the first one. Niro-rotate mo na lang yung 2 buckets mo.
Perfect.
So it's not rocket science. Sanayan lang talaga ng pag-layer ng food waste. If there is anything that you need to seriously learn, it's understanding the smell of fermentation. Normally, pag bago yung amoy or hindi tayo sanay sa amoy, the initial reaction is, oh, it's mabaho, I don't like that. Na-receive mo na yung brand mo, na-try mo na ba siyang amuyin?
Hindi
And
pa. Hindi ko pa naaamoy, Miss Rina.
give us feedback pagka naamoy mo na. Kasi that's the fermented smell. Sweet, sour, think vinegar. Not that gusto nating mga may suka, di ba? Pero if without Bokashi brand, nabulok yung food waste, mabaho yon. Hindi ko na kailangan i-explain yun kung gano'n natin
Yes.
kaayaw yung ganung mabahong amoy, and we don't like that. When we start layering our food waste in a bucket with the brand, hindi natin ma-experience yung mabahong amoy. And we will not say na it will be odorless, pero instead of a foul odor, you have the fermented smell. Important siya kasi, first for us, ayaw natin ng mabahong amoy. Second, pag meron kasing mabahong amoy, that attracts pests. So if walang foul odor, wala ring pest. And yun naman yung usual na concern when we talk composting. Naku, ayoko baka mabaho or ayoko baka may hippies or whatever. When you do your composting, you have to let your nose be your guide. So
And mas pipiliin ko na, Miss Rina, yung amoy suka kaysa amoy bulok.
right, diba? Kaya, ano yan, yung experience na yan, you'll really use your nose as your guide. Kasi every time you open your bucket to add your new set of food waste, it should tell you kung bumaho siya, which is hindi siya dapat bumaho. Something's happening na you need to address. Baka the bucket is too moist, so you need to add shredded paper or cartons, egg cartons, something that would absorb the extra moisture. Or probably you've been putting not enough brands, so you need to add brands. So of course, during the learning curve, may mga troubleshooting na kailangan mong pag-aralan. And then, your bucket is full, na-layer mo na, and you've been checking, it's working okay. You will now leave it for 2 weeks. Sabi natin, we'll let the microbes work and ferment the food waste. They need at least 2 weeks to do the fermentation process. This is the stage when the microbe starts breaking down the food waste. Although when you open your bucket, it will never turn into compost. Pag open mo, baka magulat ka after 2 weeks, bakit nandito pa rin yung banana peel? So, na-breakdown na siya ng microbes, pero in our eyes, makikita pa rin natin siya as the same food waste or the same yung banana peel, yung bread, kung ano man yung nilagay natin doon. Pero that's the stage that sets Bokashi composting different from other composting method. Kasi the acidity or the pH drop during fermentation makes the whole bucket acidic. So, it won't rot. Yun din yung reason na hindi siya bumabaho. Plus, it inhibits growth of pathogenic bacteria, meaning we don't worry about na, nako, baka mag-spread lang tayo ng sakit dahil iniipon natin siya in a bucket. The microbes in the Bokashi brand inhibits the growth of pathogenic bacteria. And dahil na-breakdown na yung food, pag binigay na natin siya sa soil, the soil microbes would finish the job much quicker. Plus may bonus pa, Janina, pag nag-Bokashi composting ka, kaya may faucet yung bucket. Kasi there's a juice. You can, there's an added benefit of collecting the Bokashi juice from your bucket and use it for your plants. You can even use it at home, pour it sa drain, sa sink, kasi this way you would let the microbes work through the pipeline. They all end up in the septic tank where they will find more organic waste to digest. But as you can see in the photo, yung plant, yan yung 1 month progress after applying the juice into the soil. And then after a month, ganyan na nag-grow. Look at the leaves and the color. So it's really amazing how you make the soil teeming with microbial life. Mag-enjoy talaga yung plants.
Super. So for everyone who doesn't have a green thumb, maybe this can be your secret weapon.
Diba, no? Biglang gaganda na ng mga plants mo and your secret is my food waste and my Bokashi juice. Yun. Now, it's time for the composting stage. This is the stage where we will mix the fermented food waste with soil. it is always the soil that would finish the decomposition. All you have to do is get your food waste, and if you have a space in your yard, you can dig a pit, or you have a space in your condo balcony for a soil factory, and maybe set up giant pots, plant boxes where you will layer your food waste with soil, and then give it at least 4 weeks. Your food waste will now turn into compost, and that's something you can use to start planting. But still, sabi natin, many of us can do the collection in our buckets, but if you're challenged to do the actual composting stage, if none of this works for you, you can always avail of a composting service, which is also something new that we're offering. Meaning, you just have to collect in buckets. Once it's full, we can take it from you and compost it for you. You will always have an empty bucket to use. So, tuloy-tuloy ka lang magko-collect ng food waste in your bucket and i-compost na namin.
That's perfect. Because if you can't do it yourself, then kayo, Miss Rina, ang gagawa for us.
Para lang iwasan na natin yung mga, ano pa ba yung mga reasons na not to do composting. Either you do it at home or just collect and we'll do it for you para mas marami na sa ating makakapag-compost. And by the way, this service, we were already doing it for clients like the Albeo Corporate Center in BGC. They have a cafeteria in their building. So since September 2019, they've been diverting their food waste. Over 1.8 tons of food waste ang na-collect na from them and have been composted. Similarly, for Glorieta, we had a pilot program where 7 of their merchants participated. Diligently nilagay nila yung food waste nila in buckets with brands. So in a 2-month period, we were able to divert 6,500 kilograms of food waste. Come to think of it, no, yung mga numbers na yon, those were all pre-COVID, pero since March, wala nang tao halos sa mga offices, sa mga malls, which means di naman nawala yung food waste. All the food waste nasa mga bahay natin. Kaya the more reason na every household must really think about composting their food waste. Additionally, we have been working with friends who are in the food business. Kaan Recipes by Cha. This is a home-based food business in Pasig City. You know, Janine, the owner is a dear friend of mine. We're friends since high school. She told me she'll start her food business to win over this pandemic. Kasi syempre, they've been affected then. So, bukod sa full support kami sa kanya, I told her, sis, you're never throwing your food waste in the landfill. Kaya put it in this bucket and we will compost it. So since the day they started in May until now, 100% of their food waste goes into a bucket and goes for composting.
Wow, amazing. And if she can do it, then anyone can do it, diba, Miss Rina?
Of course. And it's a different story for WTH Foods. Sila naman, they've been around, pero at the height of the lockdown, they started helping low-income families and frontliners by providing them with nutritious plant-based meals. And if you'd see, in their operations, they think about the farmers. Now clearly they think about the people. Also, they think about the environment. Imagine kung yung mga businesses, yan na yung bagong business as usual. Ang saya, diba?
True.
Yon. Ang question now, where will the food waste go? It could go to our site in Playa del Bulacan, known as Luntiang Bakuran. That's where we do our composting. If you'd see from the picture, Green Ants built this site using bricks that were made from plastics, upcycled to bricks, and then now we turned it into a compost pit where we transform food waste into compost. And we're also looking at spaces around the city when we can do more composting. Kaya yon. That's actually it. We want you to be part of our mission and green space to this unending search for soil mates. I hope you decide to become one after today, and that we can ask more and more people to really start composting and find soil mates, because this is a soil revolution. We really need to help the planet. So the next step for everyone, since we're all working from home, may all work from a greener home and make the choice. Either make your buckets, purchase your buckets, get your brands, or subscribe into a service. Whichever option you choose, consider it as your investment to the future.
Thank
Kaya,
you.
as a soil advocate, invite ko din kayo, please watch the movie Kiss the Ground. It will help you find more reasons why you should commit to composting and why you should participate in the planet's regeneration. And I'll be putting this to an end. Please remember that whenever you send your food waste to the landfill, you're throwing away a valuable resource that can help build soil. Kaya it's really, really time to make a change from landfillers to land healers. So be our soulmate and let's heal the planet.
Thank you so much, Miss Rina. You can count on me. I will join you as a soil mate. And guys, please comment if you're interested in being a soil mate also. Miss Rina, last question. The Bokashi brand can also be sa'yo din yan kukunin?
Yes, we have,
Yung
we have
space.
Bokashi brands. Actually, when you try to scan this code or go to our Facebook page, it will lead you to the site where you can browse through the products, the prices, and the service subscription para you can gauge which one of those fits you, alin ang gusto mo, where will you would start your composting.
Hey, perfect. Thank you so much, Miss Rina. Guys, sabay na tayo mag-start. Let's start this week. I'll update you and we can do it together with Miss Rina and Green Space and WWF's help. Thank you so much because all the tips we learned today are so practical, so easy to do. And if you're like me na hindi talaga mahilig sa mga worms at sa mga uod, there's an option for you. We can do it this way. And there's also an option that they have a service. So there's no excuse, guys. We need to start composting right now. Kaya-kaya natin to gawin, guys. I hope you all listened and learned a lot from Rain and Miss Rina, because at the end of this webinar, we are having a short game and the winners will be given a special prize. Hint, ang prize ay syempre food-related din dahil malapit nang mag-dinner. But before we proceed, I would like to invite everyone to please support WWF-Philippines fundraising campaign so we can support the lives of those who work tirelessly to protect us, our families, and the environment. So we all know that we're currently experiencing very challenging times, but we believe that by working together, we can all rise above this crisis. So now on your screens is our GCash QR code as well as our bank account numbers where you can send your donation for our environmental frontliners. So any amount will go a long way. To learn more about WWF Philippines and to find out how we can help #change the ending for the planet, just visit wwf.org.ph or simply visit the rest of our Facebook page where you are now and click the Learn More button to support our environmental frontliners and partner communities. Thank you so much, guys, for always being so supportive pandas. Moving on. Thank you so much again, Miss Rain and Miss Rina, for those very informative tips and that amazing presentation. I really learned so much from you guys, and I'm sure that you guys watching from your homes also learned a lot. Just comment and tell us what you think. And now we are opening the floor for questions from our audience. So guys, if you have questions, feel free to write them down in our comment section. In the interest of time, we can only be covering a few questions before we proceed to our very exciting game. So let's get on with our question and answer portion. Okay, the question is for Miss Rina. Miss Rina, makulit tong nagtanong. Just like me. Can you
Yes.
please summarize the process of Bokashi composting?
Okay, So, 2 stages. You've collected na, di ba sabi natin in the collection, you layer your food waste and your bran. When you do to the composting stage, layering din siya. This time, you layer your fermented food waste with soil naman. So, if you have a bucket of fermented food waste, you'd be needing about 2 to 3 buckets of soil that you will mix with your food waste. If you have a garden and meron kang mga dried leaves, it's also best na isama mo yun dun sa compost mo. So what will happen is, if you're digging a pit, put your bucket of food waste and then add whatever leaves you have in your garden, cover it up with soil, and you can leave it na. You don't need to turn it every time. The same way with soil factory, yung bucket mo naman ng food waste, unti-unti mo siyang ilagay doon sa soil factory, layering it with the soil. So, mag-scoop ka ng fermented food waste, put it in the bucket, I mean in the soil, in your soil factory. It could be an old laundry basket, iline mo with a garbage bag. Soil, food waste, hanggang sa maubos mo yung laman ng bucket mo. Then again, you just leave it and let the soil microbes work. It would take at least 4 weeks para maging compost na siya. Later on, what you need to do is to harvest your compost. Kaya din maganda na if diretso mo na siyang i-mix sa mga plant boxes na malalaki. Kasi you don't need to harvest and take it out. Doon ka na diretso mag-plant. Pero pwede din naman na you put it in a like a soil factory nga, in a bin, para you can take that soil after or compost after and use it for your pots and start planting there. I hope that helps.
Super. So it really pays off to be makulit for the environment dahil lahat tayo natututo together. Just think of it as a lasagna, but it's your compost.
Exactly. Lasagna method, layering.
Excited na rin si Punchy, my dog. Miss Rina, we have another question. So our audience says, hello. If I don't have plants or I'm not growing plants, can I donate or sell my compost somewhere?
Yes, actually, you can find groups in Facebook. So I can't remember all the names right now. I can share later in our page. Pero mga gardening groups na yung iba naghahanap sila ng either they have what's this? Yun nga, a garden, and they can use all the compost, and meron din namang bumibili. So more of like, imagine it as a trading. I have compost or I have food waste, and yes, you can definitely share it. So don't worry na gagawa ka tas wala ka namang garden. You will you can always find someone who will use it. Instead, better to look for someone who would take the compost than send your food waste to the landfill. So let's worry about that na lang.
And Miss Rina, di ba, you also have a project that sometimes gives the healthy soil to farmers. Tama po ba?
Yes. We were talking about that, na yung compost, especially this is a project that we'll be doing with the Good Food Community, wherein the Good Food Community is already working with a lot of farmers. And what we will do is, the compost that we make, part of it will go to help those farmers, especially kung medyo degraded na yung land nila and kailangan nating i-regenerate yung farmland, so it would help improve their harvest. So compost will also be going to the partner farmers.
Yeah, that's great because it serves as your donation, di ba?
Yes.
Instead of giving just money, you can also help their livelihood by your composting.
Kasi if they have better harvest, talagang may improve yung livelihood nila.
Tama. Thanks for that question. And moving on to our last question, this one naman is for Rain. So Rain, you mentioned earlier that there will be an app available for the compost collection. Can you tell us more about it?
Okay, so our project, the Sustainable Diner, recently got a grant. So it's gonna fund yung paggawa ng app na to. So it's in partnership with Green Space. So the goal is to connect the restaurants na yung food waste nila, instead of them just doing the usual process na itatapon siya, tapos mag-collect ng garbage service tapos tatampat sa landfills, it's going to be a subscription service na para doon sa composting program ni Rina. So that's why we're partnering with Green Space. So instead of magpunta sa landfills, the food waste of the restaurants can be brought to the composting facilities of Rina in Bulacan, and the upcoming one, yung rapid composting facility na lalagay sa, I think, sa Quezon City. So yun. So it's still in the works, as in right now, we're still forming the team who's going to do that. So we're gonna have the coordinator for that. And then, so abangan siya until, I think, until August next year. So it should be launched by early next year na.
That's amazing. And I think you don't have to be a restaurant owner, no? You can be, a lot of people have started home food businesses, diba? Katulad
Yes.
ng friend ni Miss Rina. So, everybody can do their part. Thank you,
Yes.
Rain. And thank you so much, guys, for your questions. We learned so much from your questions as well. So, ayan na, yung sinasabi ni Rain kanina pa na our favorite moment. Here's the moment we have all been waiting for, guys. It's dessert, or otherwise known as our game. Simple lang po ang game natin, and this is just to test kung nakinig ba kayo and what you have learned from this session. So Rain will be asking the questions and you will be given 10 seconds to answer, 10 seconds lang. So, paunahan lang pong i-type ang answer sa comment section. And if you win, a WWF representative will be sending you a message on how you can get your prize. Ready, guys? Okay, Rain, let's start.
Okay, guys. So, the winners of our game will receive Grab food vouchers. So, food-related pa rin siya. So, game na kayo, guys. Okay. Question number 1. Super dali. When is the International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste Reduction? So, I think madaming makakakuha nito.
Sana, sana. It's the first, diba?
First ever. Ayan. So, time's up. Of course, the answer is today, September 29. Ayan. So, don't worry dun sa mga hindi nakakuha. We still have 4 questions. So, you have 4 more chances to win. So, number 2. What greenhouse gas does food waste emit when it rots? So, this is something that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. So, if you really stayed, I'm sure alam mo to. So, time's up. And the answer is methane. There you go. So, methane again is a greenhouse gas that's more powerful than carbon dioxide. All right. Question number 3. Give 2 tips on how to reduce food waste at home. Super dali niyan kasi sa comments nakita ko may nagsusummarize ng 10 tips.
Wow! SA!
Ayan, time's up. Okay, so I'm sure nakita niyo naman yung summary. So there you go, yung 10 easy tips natin from earlier. So ang dami-daming pwedeng isagot. And then, last 2 chances, guys. Kaya niyan. Number 4. Is Bokashi composting an anaerobic or aerobic process? Medyo mas complicated tong tanong. Pero worth it yung prize. Don't worry. Okay, time's up. So the answer is anaerobic. Ayan. Kung nakinig kayo kay Miss Rina kanina, minention niya yan. And the last question, ito medyo mas mahirap siya. Pero if you really listen to what Miss Rina said, ayan, give 1 ingredient in the Bokashi brand mix. So there are 3 ingredients that she mentioned. May nakakuha kaya? Alright, time's up. So the answer is rice bran, carbonized rice hull, and EM1 activated solution. So there you go. So thank you everyone who participated. And again, WWF will contact the winners and will let you know how to claim your Grab food voucher.
Sakto for dinner. Thank you, Rain. And congratulations, guys. Meron bang naka 5 out of 5? So again, before we wrap up the show, we would like to invite everyone to support, please, WWF-Philippines fundraising campaigns for our environmental frontliners. So many people have been affected by these challenging times. So let us help to the best of our abilities those who work tirelessly to ensure that we are well fed and that wildlife and their habitat is protected. So flashing now on your screen is our GCash QR code and bank accounts where you can send your donations. A little goes a long way. So anything you can give will be very, very helpful. And with that, that concludes the Save Our Food, Save Our Planet live webinar. We hope that we inspired you to live sustainably and to apply the new learnings that you all heard about today in your daily lives and in your future plans. Stay tuned on WWF Philippines Facebook page and other social media pages for announcements on future digital events. Thank you so much, guys. And let's start our journey together to hashtag change the ending. Again, ako po si Janine Gutierrez, WWF Philippines National Youth Ambassador. Thank you so much, Rain and Miss Rina, for everything that you shared with us today. We are now signing off. Have a great evening, everyone, and see you soon.